You're now listening to the Jazz and Whip FPL Snip, covering all of the English Premier League happenings of the weekend.
Do not scratch your eyes. You are really seeing the most extraordinary finish here.
All right, lads, welcome back. It's been a little while since we've had a fucking podcast, mate. How's things, Whip?
Yeah, pretty good, man. Yourself? It's good to be back in the comfort of bed as well.
Chilling at home, fucking good, man. It's good. I'm a bit depressed. There's no fucking football for about 14 more years, so that's the shit. So,
I'm gonna watch this fucking dead ass international break. Season's over. It's just terrible.
Fucking 2 weeks of this shit, waiting for games to come back because both the Queens died, and now all of a sudden we want to go play against fucking Bulgaria or some shit in the Nations League. So makes a good time, and then I fucking can't do anything to do with FPL. So this week's podcast, we're going to be focusing a little bit more on just football in general, I reckon. Maybe touch on a few topics, see what your thoughts are, and kind of go from there.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, let's kick this shit off. What have you thought? Well, first off, have you seen the new Brighton manager?
I actually haven't. You sent me this topic before, and I was going to look it up, but I don't even have a clue who he is.
His name's Deserbi. Or Desirabi or something. Basically, he came from Shakhtar. So
yeah,
obviously when all the fucking war popped off, they shut down football in there, he kind of left Shakhtar and is now obviously coming over to Brighton. So that's been his last job. He was in kind of Italy for a good few years doing shitty teams like Palermo and Benevento and Sassuolo and shit like that. So it's a typical Brighton signing in my book. The fucking rank outsider who plays like quote good football, for a team out of Ukraine. How do you think he's going to go? What do you see with Brighton happening here?
Well, I'm just looking at. I just gave him a quick Google now because I have zero idea of who he is. But his preferred formation is a 4-2-3-1, which obviously just isn't what Brighton play at all. And his average term as a coach is 1.1 years, which isn't really that promising for a guy that hasn't coached a massive team other than, I guess,
Shakhtar's pretty big in Ukraine.
That's what I said, Shakhtar in Ukraine. But look, I don't really have that much of an opinion on it. I think it's not Potter, so it's going to be a downgrade. But I'm interested to see how Brighton line up. I mean, he's got 2 weeks to work with the players before their games, so
yeah, there's not many Brighton players that are in international duty this fortnight, are there? Probably Dunk or something like that, maybe.
Maybe someone like Veltman.
Yeah, maybe. So you're not missing too many pieces, so you get a bit of time at least. But yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think this is probably where the downfall of Brighton starts. And I wouldn't say it's going to be terrible. I don't think see them like crashing all the way to the bottom of the table, like doing a reverse Newcastle last year. I just see them coming back to their 11, I guess. 7, 8 to maybe 9 or 10. Yeah. It'll be interesting. And like you said it right. It's no Potter. So anything that goes wrong, I think the Brighton fans and the media is going to be straight on his back, basically. Like, it's no Potter, especially if fucking Chelsea start killing. If Chelsea start banging goals and getting their shit together, and Potter starts doing well. Yeah. And he's not. Yeah. And it's going to be a lot of flames on him very quickly in my books. So
I think he's definitely coming into it. So it's a tough job to come into, that's for sure. Yeah,
and like all props to him. They've got a good team. Someone was saying in another podcast I was listening to that he has played in a few different ways, because obviously it's Sassuolo and Palermo and stuff like that. Palermo. That they don't have a lot of possession, so they play back. They kind of hit on the counter, and they play with back threes and wing backs and things like that. But then obviously he goes to Shakhtar, probably the most dominant team in the league, playing Champions Leagues and Europa Leagues. So he's up against good quality opposition and has the ball. So he plays he can play different styles of football. So he can either play with the ball or without the ball. So that does suit, I guess, how Brighton are. Because they are technically that kind of media team, middle team, I guess. Not so against the big guys, but they hit on the counter. But against those normal and mid-table teams and these bottom teams, they actually have quite a bit of the ball. So he might do all right there.
Well, I think Brighton are a pretty well-run football club. So I don't think they would have just done this if they didn't really believe he's the right man for the job. I think where they are in the table right now would have attracted quite a few people. So yeah, I think it's just a wait and see. But I agree, it's just not. Brighton is probably you jump ship on those players for now until you see how they're actually playing.
Yeah, if I'm looking to make some changes, that's probably one of the things I'm looking at is getting rid of Brighton players for a few weeks until I know what the fuck they're doing. The most interesting result for me in the weekend was this fucking Everton result. Everton, all of a sudden, a good defensive team.
Dude, just quietly on Everton, before we jump into that, Alex Iwobi's actually changed his career around. Like, there was some stat that he'd only started a certain amount of games consecutively in his career ever, and now he's up to 19 since like halfway through last year to this season. He's resurged as a centre midfielder, and he's actually not terrible to watch. But
did he leave Arsenal?
Yeah,
he left as a failure.
I'm pretty sure he signed a decent money deal to Everton. I'll look right now. But yeah. So you messaged me and you said that Everton are the second best defence in the league, and I need a little bit of convincing. So go hardest.
So check out the table, all right? And have a look at where are they? Everton here. They have got 6 goals. They've goals against, 6. So they are, other than they got Liverpool and Brighton. So Man City, Liverpool, Brighton. They're the best defences in the league at the moment. That's what I'm kind of talking about. They technically have the second best defence in the league. Can't score a fucking goal to save themselves, but they are definitely hard to score against. So everybody was kind of writing Lampard off in my books. So Brighton obviously very well run, very hard to score against, very, very good team. Everybody was writing Lampard off, kind of saying that he's a wank manager, it's just not working. He's obviously done something to that defence. I think they brought in, what was it, Tarkowski and
Connor
Cody to bring that backline up and
proper
upgrade
Brexit.
it. The what?
The proper Brexit backline.
But yeah, so he's done some work there to stop them from leaking goals all the fucking time. The big problem is obviously they can't fucking score goals. They've only scored 5 goals all season. So that's where the issue lies, is they're not able to convert chances. And that's probably down to A, selling your best player with Charleston, and B, having Dominic Calvert-Lewin basically running around with fucking sticks for legs. So as soon as he kicks the ball, he fucking breaks it and he's out for 6 weeks. So my thing was, are they a defensive option going forward? Can we look at the Everton team and reliably say they're probably going to get a clean sheet?
The answer is no. The only one that I would go for is Patterson. He's very cheap. He's 4.1 mil, and he starts every week. And he's actually decent. He's got decent numbers so far. Picked up a clean sheet bonus. He's a good player. Seems to be getting the nod over Coleman, who's probably at the twilight of his career. So I think if you're going to bring in a defender, Patterson's definitely a viable option. But I wouldn't go any further than that.
No, Connor Cody, like you just said, 4.8 mil, 25 points already. Even Tarkowski, man, 4.4 mil, 23 points.
It's
these guys are drastically cheaper than Chilwell. Guys, Chilwell's in pretty much everyone's team. Like Lewis Dunk, for example, is in a lot of people's teams. Van Dijk, Dello, Trent, all of these guys.
Let's have a look. Nico Williams, let's take him out and select replacement Patterson. Let's have a look at Patterson. So you said someone like Connor Cody. He's 4.8 mil. You said 25 points. I mean, the run isn't terrible. Southampton away, which
no draw.
We get points there, but then he plays United, Tottenham, Newcastle. So I would probably say, similar to Liverpool players, you wait. If you haven't got them in already, don't get them in now. But then, from game weeks 13 to right up until the World Cup break, they've got Palace, Fulham, Leicester, Bournemouth. I can't see any reason why he doesn't pick up more points there. So I think he could be an option, but at 4.8, I'd rather just, for 0.7 mil cheaper, I'd rather go for someone like Patterson, who gets 90 minutes a game and is an enabler and has the chance of getting attacking returns.
Well, Cody does. He scored that goal, remember, against Liverpool, and fucking he got called offside for like inches.
It's not going to happen again, realistically.
He's a madman. He reminds me of fucking Martin Skirtle, where he just throws himself at everything like a spastic. But yeah, my thing of them being the second best defense in the league kind of blew my mind as to like is that actually like how bad teams are at scoring other than Man City at the moment? Like is that an indictment on the league? Like Liverpool would usually be banging goals in. We're at 15 goals in 6 games, which is not like terrible. But like Man U only scored 8 goals in your 6 games. Like
gave the rest of the league a fucking head start, to be fair.
Yeah, like, you know, we obviously, if we take out the 9 where we smacked, what's its face with fucking, who are they? I can't remember now, Bournemouth won it. If we take those 9 out, like Liverpool can't score a goal to save ourselves. You know, Chelsea, same thing, Man U, same thing, like Aston Villa, Everton, like none of these guys can actually kick goals. So is it the league and the teams they've come up against can't score, so therefore their defence looks good? Or is their defence just legitimately good?
Look, I think it's a mixture of both. Tarkovsky and Cody back there are both stereotypically very solid. They're very solid defenders and sort of no nonsense. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there is a case to be made there. It looks like they've sorted the team from the back first, and then I think maybe in the transfer window they'll look to bring in someone who can put the ball in the net. But look, honestly, I know it's a shitty response, but I honestly don't know. I think I need to see more of it. But
yeah, I agree. I just thought it was an interesting little.
The only Everton asset I would bring in probably is Patterson.
Yeah, fair. And Pope. Not Pope. What is it? What's his face? Dinosaur Arms himself. Pickford, but he's out now, fucking injured, isn't he?
Yeah, he's injured.
Yeah. All right, let's pivot from teams that look wank to teams that are not wank. Arsenal. Are they actually contending?
No, they've lost their own. They've had one. They beat Brentford 3-0 on the weekend.
Yeah.
Brentford didn't even show up, man. They've had one challenging game. I know it's ironic from a United fan saying that Brentford aren't a challenging game because we lost 4-0. But Arsenal have had one hard game all year and they choked and they lost and it was against us.
Yeah, fair. I agree. But if they're doing the right thing, smacking the teams that are shit, and sure, they might lose to you guys, they might draw against Spurs or something like that, but they're smacking all the shit teams, they're going to be in the race. Sure.
No, I think they're definitely a chance of top 4, only because everyone else sucks.
Yeah. Well, they're playing real good football. They look good. They gel well. The team chemistry is off the charts compared to what it was prior.
Billion, and they all have the same first name. Like I'd probably play well with 11 Aidens as well.
Yeah, they're a weird one for me because I can't legitimately say like anyone's nearly as good as Man City. Man City are just fucking ridiculous, but they're still dropping dumb points. You know what I mean? Like
they drew against Newcastle and Villa, which is just
which is dumb. Like they've done that for years though. Remember, there was always those dumb games they drop a point or two against like a Palace or Burnley or some shit, and you thought bringing Haaland in fixes that problem because you've just got this guy in the box. But it turned out that when they needed him to pop up against those dumb teams, that he just couldn't. He couldn't do it. Like Newcastle, like obviously he got a couple of goals back to bring that back to a draw, but it shouldn't have got there in the first place, right? But Aston Villa, same thing. Like that team's not good. That Aston Villa team's hanging on by a spread, and to get a 1-1 draw there is fucking mental. They could have done that last year. That would have been fucking spectacular. But yeah, what is your thoughts there? Are they going to come and just completely wipe the league, or
Arsenal?
Mm-hmm.
City.
Man City.
City will win the league comfortably, bro. Seriously, they're ridiculous. I know they've dropped stupid points, but no one even gets close to the quality that they have. I mean, we'll see. The first game back after the international break, they play United, and I think, to be honest,
I think you guys have a shot there.
I was going to say, I think if there's any team that can compete with City, it's us, because City is such a possession-based team. They push so high up the pitch, and with the injuries they have out at the moment, I don't see a reason why we can't do what we did against Liverpool.
Yeah, hit them on the counter.
But we'll see how that pans out. I'm also on that topic. I'm also tempted to captain James Maddison against Nottingham Forest because City have us. But
I'm backing the fucking the Norwegian monster.
You also got to remember I'm 89 points behind.
Take some funds.
To be fair, imagine if Haaland scores once, whatever the captaincy. But the points that make up from Maddison, I doubt I'll do that. I'll probably just back Haaland because it's
pussy move. Yeah.
But anyway,
but I'm looking at that back line that they played on the weekend, Man City, and it's Cancelo and Diaz, which are fine. But then Akanji and Stones on the other side, you can get at that. Rashford and fucking Martial and Sancho and stuff can easily get at that. And Anthony or whatever, they can get at that.
I think I wouldn't say. I see Arsenal finishing like second or third. I just think City are too good, and they'll beat the likes of Arsenal.
I agree. I still think it's a one-horse race. I don't particularly back Liverpool to get back into this. I see this being a bit of a season problem. Remember that season where we had to rely on Alisson to fucking header a goal and to get into the top four? Yeah, I see that shit happening again this year. We're going to be fighting with Spurs or Arsenal or Man U for that fourth spot, or maybe Chelsea if they pull their finger out. So I feel like it's going to be one of those pain years for us. And then next year we come back and rebound and kind of go again. So let's just hope we don't drop out the top four because that would fucking devastate the club if we did. Yeah.
Get sacked if that happens.
Well, there was talk about I was reading today. Well, there was talk about not sacking Klopp, but Klopp leaving at the end of the year and replacing him with Nagelsmann. So they basically do a Bayern Liverpool swap.
No, I don't think Klopp will go manage Bayern. I can't see him doing it.
Well, he's always said that he wanted to. That was his dream. Every German manager's always wanted to go coach Bayern.
There you go.
So, but they were saying that there was some background murmurs when the Mane deal went through, that they were talking behind the scenes as a potential, not now, but in the future, we would like to have Klopp as our manager, the long term, if things don't work out with Nagelsmann. So, and obviously Hansi Flick's got Germany, so he's not coming back anytime soon. And maybe if they pull the trigger early, like Thomas Tuchel goes to Dortmund, to Bayern maybe, and kind of takes it up. But
Klopp at Liverpool a long time, and you're talking about the best Liverpool team ever. You'd probably say, and they've won two. They've won two pieces. They've won two league. No, one league.
One league, one champs. But you got to take that with a pinch of salt. It did line up against probably, granted, our team's probably the best Liverpool team ever. Then we lined up against probably the best team ever.
Yeah, I guess. But I also saw a funny stat. I said it was the last 5 years you've had the best Liverpool squad ever and the worst Manchester United squad ever. And Manchester United have finished higher than Liverpool twice out of the last 5 seasons, which is...
Yeah, fair. Yeah.
Which is... I don't know. You wouldn't say Klopp's time at Liverpool has been a failure at all.
God, no. You broke that drought, man.
Yeah.
You could break that drought and now finish fucking 15th for the next 5 years and I'll still be greatest Liverpool manager ever.
You transformed so much there, but it is, obviously it's hard because you compete against Man City every year, but...
Yeah. And the way the club's run, it's not like a Newcastle. It's got to be or even a Chelsea, where they can just dump money, rebuild a team, and restart, and then go again the next year.
Yeah,
you have maybe a 3-month downturn. Liverpool have a process, so there's going to be times where it's going to be years, maybe a year, maybe 9 months, where we go into a rebuild phase, and hopefully we hang on, stay in the top 4, and then the year next we go fucking hard again, or for a 2-year stretch.
Yeah.
So, on that, I'm talking about Liverpool and things. Let's talk about Rodgers.
Easy. The only reason why he's still there is because it'll cost less than too much to terminate his contract.
But Leicester have got a fucking billionaire own.
Yeah, but I think the payout is ridiculous.
Is it?
Iwobi signed for Everton for £34 million.
Yeah, right. That's a massive fee.
Yeah, Brendan Rodgers payout clause.
Kind of. Yeah, no, that's
It's
not at all. Increase to $5 million. So it's only
10 million pound compensation clause. I'm reading here.
Yeah, right. But it's not that much.
I guess, but
Like, if you were talking maybe like fucking 50 mil, maybe I'd understand. Like 10 mil's not that bad. Fucking, you buy a player at 10 mil, easy. You know what I mean? But are they cooked? Is Leicester cooked?
They got to get rid of him. I think he's. I don't know. I just think it's unfortunate because the manager's always the first one to go, realistically. But I just don't see them going anywhere, especially if they lose Maddison in January, which they very may well do, like losing.
10, like they've scored 10 but conceded 22 goals.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
That's fucking gross. But like, what is their defense looking like? Who are they going there? Let's have a suss here.
They've got no defense. They're still playing Johnny Evans and Soyuncu.
Well, Soyuncu is not even in there. He's out injured.
Well, there you go.
Fucking Lord Farquhar's gone. So you got Daniel Ward in there, who's about as useful as Miller in goals. So, and then you got, who's this? Fayers, Johnny Evans, about 400 years old. You're playing Ndini basically in front of them, saying Ndini kick the ball away, hope for the best. And playing a 5-man front line. Maybe that doesn't help. So, you know, Madison, Tielemans, Drewsby, all Barnes, and Daka.
Vardy's time's done. Ian Atro needs to get more minutes. That guy's ridiculous when he plays.
And they got not much on the bench either, like Amadi. Jose Perez used to be good. What happened to that guy? Mark Albright, isn't he like as old as fucking Johnny Evans? So, yeah, I think that team is more cooked than the manager. I don't think necessarily it's a Brendan Rodgers problem. I think it's more this team is actually broken. Like, you need to fix this thing.
I don't know if it's that. Do you think it's that bad? Or the defense is pretty shocking.
Yeah, and that's why you can see all your goals. Like, you scored 10. That's pretty good. You know, but you're fucking conceding 22. That's disgusting. Like, you scored 2 against Spurs, for fuck's sake. You know, you scored 2 against Spurs, 2 against Brighton, 1 against Chelsea. Like, so it's not like you can't not score. It's just you can't defend to save yourself. Like, fucking 2 against Arsenal. Like, you lose 4-2. Like, what more do you want from your 5 guys up front, I guess?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that team just needs a bit of a rebuild, but I don't know what they're going to do with Brendan Rodgers. And even if they, like, the easy option would be obviously get rid of him and hope for the manager bounce and hope for things to turn around and go from there. But yeah, I don't know. Looking at the start of the year, I would have put my hand on heart and said Forest goes down, like straight away. Southampton probably goes down, and maybe like a Leeds goes down, or like maybe Fulham. You know, coming up, or Bournemouth. Like Bournemouth, I should probably go down, but at the moment they're 8 points, so they seem to be doing all right. Yeah.
I still think Forest and Bournemouth definitely go down. Forest, if they were ever going to win a game, it would have been against Bournemouth, and they choked it. So
yeah, that team's a bit mismatchy, isn't it?
Bit everywhere.
Quite quick.
Even Wolves are right down there, man. Like,
yeah, that Wolves team's not looking too flash at the moment, is it? They got rolled by Man City, and they didn't even look like them on the fucking field.
They've had a tough run of games, I think, though, haven't they? Well, I mean, they lost to Leeds, drew to Fulham. You know, there's definitely games they could have won in there. Newcastle, 0-0 to. Oh no, that was the Thursday game, wasn't it?
Yeah, 0-0 to Bournemouth.
No, they did draw 0-0 to Bournemouth. That's just tragic.
Yeah, like draw against Fulham is bad, but like they're not getting smacked other than against Man City, where they're gonna smack fucking everybody. But
he draws already.
Yeah, I know. I think they'll be right. I thought Palace were doing much better this year than they are.
They've played one less game than everyone.
Yeah, granted, but I mean they're still 16th. So, but what have they done this year? Like drew against Newcastle, drew against Brentford.
the game that got postponed was against Brighton. I mean, if they win that, they go to 9 points, which puts them all the way up to like 10th above Newcastle. And all of a sudden, we're saying they're having a great season.
Yeah, they don't have a good run either. Like they're kind of lucky their games got postponed.
Dude, their run.
They would have had Man U, then into Brighton, then into Chelsea, then into Leeds.
Yeah, their run to the World Cup is pretty solid, man. They've drawn 4 games.
3. 1, 3, and 2. Yeah, 1-1, 3 draws, 2 losses. Yeah.
So yeah, first game was against Arsenal. Then they got a draw against Liverpool, and then they had Villa. They lost to City. So their run has been pretty tough to start the season. You know that.
Yeah, give me a prediction. What's your top 4 combined?
Yeah, so City finished top. I then think I would almost argue whoever wins the North London derby between Arsenal and Tottenham when we come back from the international break will finish second. So I think, yeah, City, Arsenal, and Tottenham. And then, look, it's probably going to be Liverpool. I still think they come at it. I still think Salah picks up form and then carries them home for the rest of the year. But it could very well be someone random. You know, it's just been a shit start to the season, unless you're Man City and Arsenal. So it's hard to really say.
Yeah, I seem to think it's going to be Man City, but I'm going to go, like I said at the start of the year, I'm going to go Spurs. I reckon Spurs finish second. I think Arsenal fall away. I think like I said, one injury to Saka, one injury to Jesus, one injury to someone important, their team kind of falls apart a little.
I still say we're an outside chance to finish at 4th spot, you know.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think it's going to go Man City, Tottenham. I think Liverpool, you're right. I think we should pick back up. And if we do pick ourselves back up in the next 2 game weeks, then we'll be well on and probably finish third. And honestly, man, it's going to be a flip of a coin between Arsenal, Man U, and Chelsea for the 4th spot. It's going to come down to who beats each other the most, basically. And if Arsenal keep losing against the Big 6, then Man U keep taking points from them, then Chelsea can't pull their finger out, then I'm probably going to end up being Man U, really. I think you guys are the most set up to beat the top 4, so...
Yeah, I think, like, Ten Hag almost started the same lineup that's been starting under all these other managers just to prove how rubbish they are. And now he's playing the team that he wants to play.
Yeah.
I can just see us still not having an outstanding season, but I think given the start, like, if you asked me this after the Brentford game, would you take top 4? I would 100% take that. So,
would you take top 5? Like, if you finish 5th, would you be happy with that?
Probably, dude. Given the start of the season and what we were looking at, I think if we can finish 5th, get a couple of signings in, like either in January or like, even if we have to wait till the end of next season, the end of this season, you know, the Ronaldo's out the door and all that sort of stuff. Get a proper striker. I think, yeah, things will definitely be looking up.
The big guy, Haaland.
He's a bigger problem than we thought.
Yeah. There's talk that he's on track to obviously smash the shit out of every fucking goal scoring record that's been set in the league. Like, where does he finish? Because at the moment, someone was saying that he's had a 38% conversion rate in front of goal to score 14 goals. That's fucking mental. They're talking like the number that conversion rate is usually like held for guys that have played band minimum minutes, come on and scored like a hat trick or something in a game, and that's it. Like that's where he's at. He's converting higher like than anybody basically, and way higher than anyone predicted. So where's he finishing this year? What? Give us a tally. Did he smash 32? Does he beat Salah?
He just scores every game. That's the problem. Like. It's just, even that Wolves goal, the Wolves game, he didn't really do anything. He was actually kind of average. Like, his touches were pretty poor. Like, we watched it. But he just comes out of nowhere and just smashes one into the bottom corner. Like he can just score from anywhere. That's just the problem. Like, I can't see him finishing, then with less than 30. But, there's every chance he falls over, gets an injury. But seriously, if he played every game this year, he doesn't get lower than 30. There's no way.
Well, they're comparing it to Luis Suarez, that season where Luis Suarez was on 20 goals by Christmas.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, he's on course to absolutely obliterate like every record. Then obviously he got suspended for biting motherfuckers, and then got fucking injured and slowed down a little, and still managed to get 31. But is it basically him going down injured that the only thing that's going to derail him? Like,
well, I think you're going to have 8 weeks off because of the World Cup, so that's 8 weeks you're going to fit into a short period of time. So I think
he's not playing in the World Cup. So
yeah, I think trying to just jam in all those fixtures is either going to work so far in his favour or he's going to get injured. I think it's 50-50, bro. I know it's been a lot of that tonight, but
I don't know. I'm kind of leaning against it. I think because he's going to have that 6-week break for not playing in the World Cup. Because it is about 6 weeks, isn't it? That the World Cup goes for. I think that might help condition him. You know what I mean? Like he'll survive. Yeah.
Not easily, but I think there's a chance that he could score like 40 goals this season. Like he's just
a reasonable, what they're saying, like projected at the moment, he's overachieving by a mile, and they're projected him to score 60 odd goals in the season across all comps, obviously. But their main projection, like what they predict, is he'll end up at about 45 goals, which is fucking ridiculous for your first season in the league at 22. So that's fucking mental. So I think it's a cheat code for him, man. Like that's the issue. If they can just not be retarded and just draw dumb shit against dumb teams, if they can just be normal and create the chances that he doesn't even need a proper chance. Apparently, he just needs fucking like a third of a chance to be put in his box, and he'll fucking score like that fly kick goal that he got. Like that's ridiculous. And they go into the Champions League. I think they have a very good chance of fucking taking out, like I would say, the quadrilla, like Liverpool was chasing last year. So I think they have a very good chance of doing it. But it all hinges on him, right?
It does. But I don't know. It's still City at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Good chat, my man. It was it's been a while to have a bit of a chat, so I thought we'd do a bit of a podcast while everybody's fucking looking for something to watch and talk about soccer. So, what's the thoughts? What are we thinking for the next podcast? What do you reckon? Any ideas?
Probably that I think we come back like probably this time next week and start looking at game week 9. It's hard to look. I mean, I've had my team up this whole time. It's hard to think about who to pick for next week when we don't know what happens in the international break and what's going to go ahead, because it's just a weird time in the world at the moment. Maybe
my biggest problem is I'm looking at my team for next week and my whole team basically plays each other. So I've got a big fucking problem. So
I think it's also a conversation like we mentioned before we started recording. I said something. I'm not going to say it out loud because someone will just copy me. But if you're where like the situation I am, where I'm 40 points off the top 10 still, which I would take if you come to me a couple of weeks ago and said you'd be, because I was in a dire spot. Anyway, is it time to maybe move away from Haaland? Obviously, that's a massive, like, not move away from him from the team, but as a captaincy choice. Like, there's Brett Verdon, for example, who's top of the league. He's probably going to captain Haaland every week. If you want to,
did you wildcard on the weekend?
Yeah, well, he wildcarded and made my team, so I can't catch him. All jokes aside, it was pretty obvious selections. But anyway, yeah, but that's what I'm saying though. If everyone in the top 10 is captaining Haaland or Kane or De Bruyne, is it time to maybe look for a punt at a captain to try and make up those points? Do you think? I think maybe that's something we could talk about next week.
But I mean, looking at the fixtures for next week, it's kind of tough to even point out a team and go, oh yeah, someone in there's going to score points. Like maybe Brentford, maybe Ivan Toney at Bournemouth.
I was thinking more Maddison against Forest.
No. Yeah, I just don't trust Leicester. But yeah, like realistically, has he scored many this What's his points like this year?
Well, he's on 29 points, and he missed the game.
3 goals. 3 goals on an assist. That's not bad in a team that's wank. So
as a captaincy option, though, it's a bit sketch, but
but he gets hit with that negative for the goals, doesn't he?
Yeah, because he's in the midfield, I think.
Yeah, so that's gonna hurt a little bit. Interesting. That's what I'm looking at this week is how the fuck do I fix my team without taking a negative 10 or some shit, so negative 12. So
how do I catch up? Because I got the basis of it. My team's really solid at the moment to get me through to game week 16. It's just how do I pick players that are going to help me catch up slowly, like bit by bit. Because at the end of the day, it's a marathon, not a sprint. We saw that I was first and second all season last year, then finished I think 6th. I think maybe even lower than that. I think maybe 7th on the last 5 game weeks. And people who were nowhere near it, like you were nowhere near it. You were 10th with like 5 games to go. You finished 2nd.
Yeah, I flew back. So
yeah, so that's what keep remembering. It's a marathon, not a sprint. If anyone's
and it's just a bit of a thing where once you get your team right for a few weeks, you can really gain like a snowball effect. If people are chasing a team, that kind of puts them in reverse, where if you've managed to put your team in a decent position, you might not score the points that you need the first week up, but if you only have to make 1 or 2 changes every other week, it becomes like a pretty big snowball of 20, 30 points in your favour every other week. So
yeah, I'm looking at having 2 free transfers for game week 10 because I can't see myself needing to use a transfer this week because all the
I don't like the sound of that at all.
What do you mean?
My whole team's playing each other, so I'm fucked. I'm looking at basically making like 4 changes to even have a competitive team. Unless for some reason, like, all of the games end up 4-4 or something. Like, so, yeah.
Just Emerson gets more minutes because I brought him in and he's only 4 mil, so it's not that big of a deal because Nico Williams or Cancelo will just come off the bench for me. But I think for West Ham they need to start playing more attacking and more exciting stuff, and I think Wolves are the perfect team to do it against. So hopefully he gets a game. But
yeah.
Alrighty.
Good chat, my brother. I will snip up the freezes that happen through this recording, and hopefully have it up tomorrow. So yeah, good chatting again. All right, man. We'll be in touch, and have a good week at work, man.
You too, brother. Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.